It's a very British trait to never talk about death or money. But new research today reveals that it is causing problems for the ones we love after we've gone. Now, according to a new report from the Co-op Insurance, there seems to be a misunderstanding between what our loved ones plan to do with our money once we've gone and what we would really like them to spend it on. Now, to get into this, I'm joined by TV and music legend Martin Kemp and Colin Butler from Co-op Insurance. So, Martin, what do you think about the findings within this research?
I think the research from the Co-op is really interesting. You know, it says that older people that leave money for their kids expect them to invest it, don't they? But older people actually want them to have fun with it, which is really odd, you know. And which, you know, it's a conversation that I've had with my kids a lot, what they're going to do with the money that we leave behind. And I want my kids to invest it and do it something really sensible with it. But obviously younger people want to go out and have fun.
Do you think that it's a relatively difficult conversation to have or to start? And kind of, do you think that things have changed over the years?
Well, look, I'm not so sure it is anymore. You know, I think it was something that was difficult when I was growing up with my mum and dad. My mum and dad's generation, that was a difficult conversation. But people are more open nowadays. You know, they talk about what record they're going to play at a funeral. They talk about a bucket list of stuff they want to do. I think we're far more open. And I think that's a good thing, that we should push it forward.
Colin, were you surprised by the research?
Yeah, so the research was quite surprising, but for me, it's all about having choice. So there's no right and wrong way here. So if people want to spend the money on clearing debts or for the future, putting money on a house, that kind of thing, that's one way. Myself as a dad, what I'd love to be able to do is when I pass, I'd love my family just to be able to go away, maybe spend a couple of £1,000 on a holiday, and then at the bar, raise a glass to the dad. So it's all about individual choices, but there's no right or wrong way.
And what about you, Martin?
Listen, I'm a big saver. I want my kids to invest it, and whether it's paying on their rent so they can stay somewhere good, so that they can, you know, go out and get a better job, then that's great. Or they're putting it straight into a mortgage. That's what I want.
I think it's down to different choices.
Yeah.
So I think with myself, I'd love to be able to have an over 50s plan, which when I pass on, it leaves a nest egg for the family. And I'd love to be able to say to them, you know what, go away for a few days, sit in a bar, raise a glass to your dad. And it's creating a bit of memories. So it's a little bit of both, really. It's having a little bit of time to create the memories, but also creating a bit of a legacy as well. So it's a bit of both, but it's down to choices, as Martin was saying.
Yeah, a glass of water. That'll save a few quid.
Do you think that there is a difference in the way that we look at this, say, across the country? Or I think the research points that women are perhaps more focused on making memories with the money than investing it. Is there a difference?
That's quite an interesting question, to be honest, but I don't think there is. I think it would be the same split. I think it would be exactly the same split. I think the argument, it's an interesting question, but I think it's something that, you know, everybody has a personal take on it. I think what we're doing nowadays, though, is we talk about these questions like death. We talk about a funeral. We talk about what song we want played at a funeral. We talk about our bucket lists, and we are far more open. You know, when I was a kid growing up, my family wouldn't talk about anything. They didn't talk about love, sex. They wouldn't talk about death. Definitely not. They wouldn't talk about religion. And, you know, if I was watching television and two people were kissing on TV, we'd all make out we were asleep, you know, because no one wanted to talk about it in case it led to sex. And so I think we're far more open nowadays. And that's what we're doing here today, you know, is let's talk about this. Let's talk about what people want, you know, whether there's a difference between men and women as to what they want. Let's talk about that.
Have you yourself had that chat with your family, Colin?
Yeah, I've definitely done it with my family. So my family know exactly, one, where I want to have my ashes scattered. And two, they want to know, they also know that once my over 50s plan matures and I'm no longer here, they also know that I want to have that little bit of a memory for them as well.
And what about you, Martin?
Yeah, we've spoken about it a lot. And we speak about everything in my family and, my immediate family. And the four of us sit down, we talk about it. And I think it's something that people do nowadays, talk about bucket lists and music, and you talk about how you want it to be. I think the more we can take away the stigma of it, the better it is. Because it happens to everyone.
So looking specifically about money, what did the research say about the finance side of things?
Okay, so what we're finding is that we surveyed 2,000 people and a lot of people want to aspire to save £80,000 for their loved ones, but they're actually we found out that actually a fifth of all people aren't actually doing that saving. And if you are saving, people then tipping into their savings for things that crop up in life. But it's definitely right to start thinking about the saving aspect as well.
Yeah.
So for me, it's again, the research shows that people want to save a lot of money. Some are saving, some aren't, but also life happens in the middle as well, and people are having to go into their savings to pay for the new boiler or pay off the Christmas debts and that kind of thing. So there are alternatives just to bank accounts. There's the over 50 savings plan that we've just launched, where you can put some money away every month. That'll create a nest egg for the future. And if you are having problems where you are finding it difficult to pay your premiums, you can actually take a little bit of time out from paying those premiums. So there are options out there for people.
They say that these things come into perspective when you face your own mortality. Martin, you've talked very openly about your brain tumours. How did that affect you?
Yeah, I had a couple of brain tumours that I had to get through, which put me out for about 5 years, which was a very difficult time, and it's probably the darkest time of my life, but also when I look back, it was the luckiest because I came through it.
And did you have the conversation with your family about your wishes at that time?
Not at that time. No, I think I was so involved in trying to get better that it was something that was pushed to the side. But I think what I learned from that is that you do need to have those conversations because I was that close to death. And I think you need to have those conversations. And that's why afterwards, I think we've opened up. But I think, like I said, I think we live in an age now where people are more open. And that's a good thing.
So thinking ahead, what would you like your family to do with your money, Martin?
I would want my kids to invest it, to be honest. I would want them to do something sensible, whether it's buy a house for themselves or pay for their rent or for them to give to their kids to go to university. I would want something sensible out of it. But I think the nice thing is to give them the choice, and without taking something like these over 50s plan out, you don't get that choice.
And finally, where can we go for more information?
If you want to know more about it, go to the Co-op Insurance website.